Hello. 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 Hi. Hi.
Hi, hi.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I can able to hear your voice.
Am I clearly audible?
Yeah. Audible.
Okay. I am visible as well.
Yeah. It's audible.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me, Sampath sir, how are things? How are you?
Yeah. Fine. So we are having some challenging series. So this we are in
Mm-hmm.
second day. This is a
Okay.
second week, I mean. So we'll be publishing in LinkedIn to have an impact of our society too. So you are a second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as I told,
Okay.
we'll be discussing on the hiring challenges in VLSI in different domains. So as an
Right. Right.
in your down the ages, right? You can brief about,
Mm-hmm.
and I will come up with different questions. How can you able to, yeah, sail through it?
Great. Great. So just give me a minute as a thought.
Yeah, it's audible. Yeah, I think it's recording, right? We are recording.
Awesome. So,
Yeah.
huh. Just to give you a brief introduction about myself, my name is Nagavenu. I have around close to 14 to 15 years of experience in recruitment. I've worked in different roles, starting from recruitment, a normal recruiter to a senior recruiter, team lead, and manager over the years of experience that I have. And categorically speaking about VLSI, I have around, say, 10 plus years, over a decade experience in VLSI hiring
Yeah.
specifically.
Okay.
So yeah, I have majorly worked on digital skills. Analog also have exposure, but majorly I've worked on digital skills like RTL, verification, DFT.
Oh,
And when we come to this, right? Yeah, overall, we see a different trend that's happening in the market. Ideally, during the COVID period, if you ask me, there was a mass hiring that happened, and people were in a race to get the best talent.
yeah.
But now, if you ask me, in the last 1 year, I would say it has reduced a bit, but the demand has not gone down,
Mm.
but it has reduced. And it is not like, the war is so much that we have to get the best talent. It's more like how do you run the show with the required talent is what they are looking at, most of them. Even the product also has been a little on and off with the hiring space, if you say.
Mm.
And when we talk about services, yeah, services also has been a little skeptical. Whoever is in a particular position wants to stay there. That's the current situation because of the market trends, I would say.
Okay.
But nevertheless, these things should be resolved by early Jan, and things should be back on track.
Okay.
So coming back to your first question about hiring challenges, right? Uh, well, there has been a upsurge, especially in terms of CTC,
Okay.
in the last decade or so. Prior to, say, what, 8 to 10 years before, if you look at the CTC being given to the candidates, it was a pretty limited one, and the scope also was limited.
Okay.
Now that everything has taken it to the next level, the CTCs and other cost of living and other things that go hand in hand have risen a lot.
Yeah.
So that, I would say, in the holistic view, is having an impact.
Yeah.
Okay. So now earlier, if you see, let's say a decade before or so, people relocating from one part of the country to other part of the country also was a challenge. Nowadays, it's like it's no big deal.
That's a big deal.
And moreover, yeah, COVID taught us that it's not always necessary that a person has to be connected from home. I mean, connected from office.
Okay.
Work from home options have made it easier and effective also.
Mm.
So all these things put together, right? I'm giving you all these different viewpoints. The reason being, these actually become as a challenge while hiring. Now that people have seen a complacent way of life, let's say work from home option is there, why don't I become a freelancer, or why don't I? This is more to do with the lateral hiring, I would say. People would want to stay in their comfort and get the work done.
Yeah.
Without affecting the productivity. So this is what they have been doing post-COVID. So these things have become a challenge of late.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was mainly about how to get the good pedigree candidates. Those also come in close relation with campus recruitment as well.
Okay.
Those we'll discuss later, but I'm just giving you a holistic view for now.
Yeah.
And most of the services, if you ask me in the last 1 year or so, have been saying they have the opportunities, but since the product companies are not hiring, they are also going on a little slow pace. This is the current market, reality of product cost. But when we come to other aspects of VLSI as a whole, you can see how the trend is changing. People are increasingly getting aware of how VLSI is growing as an industry. If you ask 2 decades before, software was the only thing that was prevalent in Indian market. People would say, oh, if you're a software engineer, you're earning really great. But now the things have changed. People understand the hardware perspective, the hardware effects. So these things are there. As and when people get to know more about it, right? There are challenges which come in terms of highlighting what kind of people are required. See, more like as and when we grow, once a financial stability is attained by a person, the person wants to have either more innovative ways of getting the things done or lead a luxurious life.
Okay.
So this again becomes a challenge for the lateral hiring again.
Okay.
Because you have to convince them saying you have to come out of your comfort zone. There might be certain opportunities that you can look at. So these things we'll have to explain as a recruiter. This is the overall view, I would say. So I think I've covered in whole about what you are looking at. But
Okay.
any specific questions, Sampath?
When you go to the campus, right? Suppose you could not
Right.
be able to necessary skill set in a particular very good college. So what would be the,
Right.
you will be selecting very few candidates, right? So on what basis
Correct.
will be second? So you have some demand, certain college you need to do recruit, right? At that time, what will be
Right.
the decision?
Okay. So there are two ways of looking at it. Most of the campus recruitment happens with a particular pedigree of candidates. When I use this word, those colleges are already selected by the management based on certain parameters saying how effective those people have been. Those freshers, when they come into the industry, have they moved across well, or the current curriculum in the university, is it up to the mark that they can they can be more of a plug and play rather than hand holding them? Because see, in the industry, no matter which industry it is, they don't want anyone to be a burden on them. They should move along. That is the expectation as and when they come in. Maybe not immediately, but at least 3 to 6 months of hand holding, and then they should be able to develop on their own. Is the expectation of the market.
Okay.
So these things are taken into consideration when we look at the past records. In the past, how have these people who have come out from certain universities, how have they fared? And those things have a major impact. That is the first point that we look at. Second would be the candidate's aptitude and ability to adjust with the circumstances. See, whenever you come into an industry as a fresher, it's not expected out of you that you would create something innovative overnight.
Right.
The expectation is you come in, play with the team, get along with the team, and grow with them. So the team, working with the team, problem-solving abilities, these are the things that people would take into consideration. Apart from the technical aspects, which are either done by written or some generic interview questions by the technical panel. Those are very normal stages, I would say.
Okay.
So these two major factors is what I would highlight as a HR standpoint.
Okay, so you will have some few written tests as well as GD also, right? GD also there.
GD is sometimes needed, sometimes not. It depends on the role actually.
Okay.
But I would say written test and problem solving abilities during the interview, right? These are the two things that they would poorly look at. GD is a little subjective, reason being it depends on the role. If a role needs it, we may look at GD, but if not, we might ignore GD also.
So suppose as you see this lot of layoffs happening in different companies, right? The service companies are being hit. So what would we
Right.
suggest for the service companies uh, to survive in the market?
See, ideally, the service model, when you ask, those people are driven by the CTCs that given to their own people. So when the CTCs are too high, the services will cut down by laying them off.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing is, whenever a candidate, I'm taking both the aspects into consideration. One is not about the company alone. The candidate should also understand that it's not about what his neighbor's car is or what his neighbor is making. It is about how he has to survive in the industry. When you look at a career, it's not about like a fortnight you will become a millionaire and then you are left for nothing. That should not be the case. Career is something that you have to prolong and look at a longer picture, bigger picture, to make sure that you're accommodated into the industry.
Yes, yes.
So that is something which I see lacking in most of the youngsters these days. Trust me, people with below 4 or 5 years of experience, they may not have the entire visibility of how it will shape up. All they care is, okay, what this is my current CTC. The other person is getting more than me.
Yeah,
I'm more capable than him.
yeah,
So
this
those
is,
comparisons are
yeah,
coming
I can
across.
see a lot of, yeah, correct.
So keeping it very simple, okay, something that you need for survival is important. Beyond that, a little bit of luxury is also needed. But apart from this, if you are expecting more, then you are asking for unwanted trouble, because over a period of time, the industry may not be able to sustain with your CTC. That is what I would tell to the candidate side of you. From
Mm.
the company perspective, see, company has to look after the profitability. When
Yes.
they are looking at their profitability, they would definitely have to take certain harsh decisions. It's not about a person, it's about how the organization has to develop, right? So
Mm.
that time, some things become inevitable. But at the same time, if you ask me, companies might be able to accommodate only and only if they see there is a huge business coming in future. But due to this uncertain, unpredictable times that we are living in, right? So we never know how things will shape up. So companies want to showcase. See, every company these days are working quarter to quarter. If you ask me, this quarter profitabilities should be better than the last quarter. So that's the race people are in. In that, there are certain casualties that will happen. I mean, it is bound to happen, right? So I would say both these aspects should be taken into consideration. And see, some of the things these days, when you look at the bench strength, earlier people were ready to take hit on the bench, especially the companies were ready to say, okay, I will take a hit for 6 months at least. Nowadays, I don't even see 3 months, a quarter also they can't take it, because they have been paying the candidates exorbitant salaries.
Mm.
That according to the company. See, according to candidate, it might be like, no, I am getting as per the market. The debate will go on, but the
Mm.
whole point is, if we are paid too high, how will you survive with a good career perspective in mind? That is something that both company and the candidate has to look at.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how the based companies, suppose if there are many people in the bench, right? Even though they did not
Uh-huh.
get the projects from the product companies, because as you know, the product companies are freezing for certain months. So in this
Mhm.
situation, so how the service
Right.
companies can uh, do well or can withstand in the market?
See, as I said, the earlier point to a certain extent will hold good here also. If the candidates pay were a little less, probably the companies might be able to take that hit. That is one point. Second point is, there should be a collaboration saying, okay, if not this particular organization, which is a service company, there should be an alternate one which would be able to make it. But at the same time, increasing the product companies in the ecosystem will actually have a better impact, I would say.
Yeah.
If we have more product companies, the demand will be more.
Mm.
So I would say, I have been thoroughly from a service background. I don't deny that. But at the same time, if you want to see how the ecosystem has to grow, it would be when the product grows.
Yes. The
Like,
service
so
companies
product
can,
needs.
the service
Mhm.
company can even invest on small products where they can,
Exactly. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They, they,
Many of the people have come up with this idea, if you ask me. They want to make some small product companies rather than toil themselves in a service company.
yeah,
Because end of the day, you never know how things will wear out after you become a certain experienced person, right?
mm,
So they would gradually want to come out or make a spin-off and make it as a product, small product.
yeah,
Because when you are in a product, the chances of you becoming profitable is more compared to services, because services has become like many people are doing the same kind of work,
yes, yeah,
and and it's like the available talent is also limited, right?
yeah, yeah,
In the same talent pool, both product and services are trying to get their hand on it.
yes.
So if you have to be different, you'll have to look at these other aspects also.
Then only the
So I would
service
say
companies, yeah.
first,
Then only the
uh-huh,
service companies will improve their values in the ecosystem, right? So the service
exactly.
company will have some product wing as well as some service wing too, and
Right,
also
right.
consulting also.
Correct, correct, correct. So yeah, nowadays this is as they say, as a collagrate, right? They would say it's a bunch of companies within.
Mhm.
Like there will be a service wing to it, there will be a product wing to it, there will be a consulting, as you pointed out. These kind of things are done in order to make sure that the business flow is always there,
Mm.
and there is enough what to say, enough funding that is happening in the background, and they are able to maintain their stability as well. So these kind of ecosystem will definitely be helpful, not only for VLSI alone, in the growth of the nation as well, if you look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, yeah,
So
correct.
this is something that people have to start understanding and addressing it. See, services are there, definitely there. But what is the next step? A service transitioning itself into a product is a very good thing
Very
to
good.
the ecosystem.
Yes.
So that is something that we might have to look at in the next upcoming few years. That is when things might get stabilized more.
Yeah. So what do you think of merger and acquisitions if people uh, in the service-based companies, for example, we have 1,000 people reach, right? They will sell,
Right,
they will start
right.
another company. So these like
See,
this,
this is
yeah,
again. I get your question. See, this is again very simply speaking, a person or a founder or the directors have put in some effort and the energy into growing it to a certain number, let's say 1,000 or anything around that. After that, they feel they should be, getting the returns. Okay. In the longer perspective, the candidates who are freshers to like a lateral hires, they might lose out on one more company which could have employed them if you
yes,
look at mergers and acquisitions. But at the same time, if you look from a founder's perspective or the director's perspective, they would say, I have invested so much time and energy into this. Let me be rewarded something for it, something better.
mhm,
Maybe they have invested, I'm just giving an arbitrary number. They have invested 1 crore. And if they are making 5 crores out of it, they would be more than happy because it's 5 times what they have invested. But at the same time, from a candidate angle, it is like, okay, I had 3 companies. It has now become 2 or 1 company now. So how will I get more exposure? These challenges are definitely there. If you look at other bigger thing in the ecosystem, the product companies are also getting benefited,
yes,
because earlier they were having 3 more options, right? Now they'll have more projects given to a particular what to say, service company, and get it done at a lesser rate, saying,
yeah, yeah,
okay, the cheap what to say, the service companies have more number now, so they will start charging even less to make sure that the product is appeased.
okay,
So if the product is happy, then the services also will continue, right? So those kind of arrangements will be there.
mm,
But from an organization perspective, it may not have a bigger impact, but with the candidate perspective, it definitely affects, because a person's career can be made, or it can become zero if choices that he has is very less.
yeah,
So that is one thing. But at the same time, if you ask me from the organization standpoint, right, they would say, okay, nowadays when people are, let's say some XYZ company is offering 24 lakhs, ABC is giving 28 lakhs. Now that ABC is not there, XYZ only the candidate has to go, 24 only he'll have to accept.
Mhm.
So, I mean, this is very debatable, but still, this is how the industry is working these days.
Mhm. Okay.
Right. So for the candidate, it's not a good scene, but for the organization, especially the management, it looks to be lucrative because they are making good money, right?
So regarding this training, right? This even this training is something done in the industry, right? So not
Correct.
in service sector, the training is be done actually internal.
Right. So regarding this training, if you ask me, most of the services invest more in training because they would want to see if a person can be suitable in different skills,
Okay.
especially when they take a fresher, right? They would always invest more money into him and say, okay, he should not be limited to only one particular domain. Let's say if he's a physical design engineer, should not be limited to that. He should be okay with doing RTL work also. So those kind of things will be groomed into a fresher over a period of time. Let's say when a person comes in, at least for one to 3 or 1 to 2 years, you would have to go through rigorously to understand what is the expectation out of the domain and the company and his growth perspective. So initial 3 years, if you ask me, a candidate or a fresher has to struggle. I wouldn't deny that. But at the same time, after 3 years, there is something readily available, and these trainings have helped him groom himself. So services company would be investing so much into the candidate, no doubt in that. But service makes him more like jack of all trades. But when you get into a
Yes.
product might have a particular flow,
Yes.
and a person is just made to understand, okay, you have to do this flow, you have to grow here only. Sometimes, I'm not saying it is quite often, but sometimes a candidate might lose interest after certain exposure. So this is one of the drawbacks, I would say, of a product. But at the same time, many people have carved their own careers when they are in product. So it is still open for discussion. But I would say a candidate, when initial days, he should be service and gradually move into product. That is when it will be good for the candidate's perspective.
Okay.
Growth wise. Yeah.
You can see so many news in the newspaper as well as site. Those who complete the BTech or some the MTech started their own companies. So
Right.
so this will be an inspiration to the people who are also looking for a job. So as an HR or expert, so how do you feel? How can you improve this? Spread this inspiration to any people, and they can start their own.
Right. See, this is a very interesting point that you have raised. A BTech fresher or someone who is getting into the entrepreneurial thing, right? He should be backed very well by the industry veterans. Could be anyone from a finance background or from PR or international what to say links that they can arrange. This will definitely make things easier to the person who's a founder, who's just fresh out of the college, but at the same time, if he has the backing from these people, right? So he will grow even better. The success stories like these make our next engineering generations that are coming in to feel that they are also belong to this, and they can also make impact in the in India's growth. See, nowadays people have realized that brain drain is something that they have to stop. I still agree some people are driven for international places. I don't deny that. But if you have to make India a better country, there should be more and more entrepreneurial people at the junior levels also. It's not about senior alone. But at the same time, it should be a collaboration wherein both of them are in a win-win situation.
Yeah, correct.
And yes, this will definitely help in the growth of the entire industry and the country as well. So
Okay.
these are very inspirational. We should encourage them quite often to get more people like that.
As you know, the state and central government also formed some schemes, as you know, incubation center schemes, and it is a mandatory in few states, and the government has been proposing also, right? He even is
Right.
go chip to start up other things. So how do you feel this
Mm-hmm.
will take an exact shape in the nation?
Right.
Yeah.
See, now when they go to let's say earlier when things started, it was only limited to tier one cities, let's say metropolitan cities and tier one cities. Now the country, India is actually government is making it very easier by giving them some subsidies and aiding them to get into tier 2, tier 3 cities, wherein see, it will be proportionately given, or what to say, it's not proportionately driven as of now because it's only limited to certain cities. As and when it grows, it has to be evenly proportionately distributed across the cities. That is when people will also have different ways of looking at it and effectively working more. So this is a very welcome move, and the government is taking these things currently and have been pushing this for almost a year or so. I think last 5 years there has been a lot of changes, if you ask me overall, because everyone understands that it should not be limited. There should be more options and more cities which will have these kind of facilities and incubation centers, as you said. So there are a lot of training institutes also that have come up recently, which have got collaborations with the central government or the state government as well. So these aidings are very required because see, now you plant a seed, then only you can expect a tree to grow out of it, right? So that is how they are doing it. It's a very welcome.
Yeah. Also, as you see that there's a centralization of cities where you can see a lot of companies coming Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, right? So
Right.
in Chennai, you can see less companies. Other cities, Trivandrum, the capital city of Kerala, despite having
Correct.
good talent, right? And Cochin has less companies. So how do you see
Right.
this perspective?
See, more and more, as I said, those tier 2, tier 3 cities have to be elevated, and there has to be a lot of incentivization done so that those people get into those cities and have their what to say, centers or the units. For an instance, if you ask me, I have noticed Bhubaneswar growing in recent times. Bhubaneswar, Pune. These are some examples how city can grow. There have been a lot of rapid changes in last 5 years. If you ask me, there have been a lot of rapid changes. So similarly, there has to be other cities included like Kochi, Trivandrum, or any others that you would look at, right? So a government should identify and incentivize. That is when people will start taking that interest and developing that particular place as well.
Okay. Also, there is a big factor for the alumni from different colleges who can well contribute, who are the founders, directors, very good companies can, uh, take these activities for the small startups. This will also enhance, right, the employability too.
Right. As you said in the last question, that you had mentioned about a fresher becoming an entrepreneur, right? So
Yeah.
something similar should be done in other cities also. So that angle would definitely have a major impact than expected. The reason being, more and more entrepreneurs you have, more and more products are out.
Yeah.
That is how I would look at.
Also, we can also emphasize on these diploma courses, right? They are also
Exactly.
good, right?
Uh,
Yeah.
Right. So I was working with my previous organization called Sankal. They had some programs like this, wherein they would rope in more of the diploma candidates and also tell them that they would have a degree that can be completed parallelly when they are working.
Mhm.
So these kind of initiatives were done in Wipro, Sankalp, and many other VLSI companies. So people, one, the candidates are benefited because they are able to work and also get their degree done. Two, they would also have a good employability as well because they're not losing much.
Mhm.
So these kind of things should be encouraged more by the government to drive it further.
Okay.
Because if a person's thing is not limited by his background, he can also excel in many places. That is how I would look at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, thanks a lot. We have notified a lot.
Okay. Sure, Sampath. So as we were discussing, let's see if you come across any great ideas wherein you can help any of them. We will always be together and make sure it happens.
Yeah, our society has our society has 260 members and different companies and institutions also, research people also there. You surely help and make the nation grow.
Definitely.
This is our main objective too. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Yes, see, I would say this is more like not only you doing it for yourself, because repayment for the industry it has provided you for these many years. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to give back something to the industry as well.
Yeah.
So this is a noble way or a good way of getting the things done.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time and calling me for this quick chat.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure I was able to handle most of the questions. We can again meet up if required and we can discuss again.
Every week we are having different like sessions. Yeah, in due course we will also meet again and again with different areas too. Thanks a lot for your valuable time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Bye.